How we doing, everyone? Welcome to the very first edition of FSI's NASCAR DFS preview show for the Busch Clash at Daytona. It is your boy TK Nation here at FSI, and I'm joined by the one and only Mega Ruler 31. Mega, how are you doing tonight?
Doing well, man. Seems like it was just yesterday, NASCAR. I don't even know if the ink's dry on Chase Elliott's winning check yet.
Yeah, Chase, what a championship run he had last year. Going to be a guy we talk about when we jump into our picks. But overall for this year, I'm pretty excited. A lot of racing, a lot of schedule changes coming up.
Yep.
Some drivers have changed. Eric Jones going to Richard Petty. We got Michael Jordan teaming up with Denny Hamlin, and Bubba's going to race that car. So a lot of fun to be had this year. And as always, guys, you can find our content at fsidfs.com, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for consistent weekly videos on NASCAR and every other sport, as we have offerings for everything: golf, NBA, NHL, you name it, we got it on our YouTube channel, Fantasy Sports Insight. So like and subscribe to our channel. As always, thank you for listening. But yeah, let's get into some picks. Real quick, we got to talk about Cooters here. We got the backdrop of all backdrops, the one and only Cooters Garage. Big shout out to you for that. That's awesome. Yeah, but let's get into some picks. Go ahead and show us a little glimpse here of what we get to look at as subscribers to to Fantasy Sports Insights NASCAR package. Just going to give you a little. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, we got Mega Ruler 31's projections up. If you want to go ahead and full screen that for me. We have the starting position and rankings. But you know what? I'm just going to let you go ahead and dive in and tell us a little bit about it, about what we got going on here at the top of the driving list.
Yeah, well, this is an abridged version. If you subscribe, you get the full book, and we go and we'll give you track history, year-long statistics. We'll look at average finishing position for races at the same track, relative races on similar tracks. So, I built this data model. We looked back at, they've raced on it once. They made the road course at Daytona, and if you didn't know it, and this is shocking news to you, that this is a road race. This is not a restrictor place race at Daytona. They're actually doing the road course that they did last year. So everybody's run on this once except for Austin Dillon. He was out with COVID protocols that race. So everybody's only seen it once. But the other comparative point we looked at was the Roval that they run in Charlotte. And I think most drivers have had like 2 or 3 chances on that one, whether it been Xfinity or Cup. So there's a little bit of data to look at, but this is not a points race. It's kind of an all-star race. If you won a stage last year, you're invited to come in this. And that's one of the big things, is that Bubba is not in this race, and Ty Dillon's going to be in his car, because Ty Dillon did qualify, but Bubba did not. So some points to start out with.
Yes, definitely. Good insight into what we got going on here for our NASCAR package. But let's get into some guys we feel comfortable with, maybe from a cash or GPP strategy. We'll start at the top on the starting list here. We got Ryan Blaney leading off, and then Bowman sitting in that second spot. A couple guys behind him: Hamlin, Keselowski, Byron. Do you see any of these guys in the top 5 getting out to an early lead and maybe I wouldn't say dominate, but paying off that position of starting in the front? Anyone you like here in this top half?
Possibly Blaney. In the Roval, he didn't do bad. He started 24th and he ended up finishing 5th. But on this Daytona track last time when he ran it, he started 24th and ended up 31st. So, but again, there's only 35 laps here, so you don't have much time. It's not like you're going to get a lot of lap leader points or anything like that. It's really hard to pass here. So Blaney could get out early, but Out of all of them, I would probably say Denny Hamlin would probably be the best, simply because it seemed like he and Harvick last year were the ones whose crew chiefs had the tracks all figured out right off the truck without any practice or anything. They were able to go out and start and do well.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And the other thing about this race too is like, there's been a lot of talk that they are going to go back to this format after the 500 next weekend. So on the 21st of February, they go back to Daytona and they do this road race. And they think that many of these drivers, especially like the smaller teams, might treat it as a more of a test session than actually go out and try to win. There are some stage points that they can get for the top 10 here, but you really don't want to tear up your car if you don't have another road car.
Right. I think that's going to be pretty big, guys. Yeah, like you said, that they don't want to ruin a car they might not have a backup for, or maybe they put a lot of time and money into the car that they're racing today for next week. Maybe someone like Richard Petty and Eric Jones, maybe they're like, okay, this is our road car. We can't mess it up. So don't drive too aggressive. So I could see that I see that affecting smaller teams. But maybe not so much, the Joe Gibbs Racing and Hendrick Motorsports. I think that's really good analysis. And I think I'm with you on Denny Hamlin up top. I think he's got a really good opportunity to get fast laps. As you alluded to, I was going to as well. The off the hauler for Denny Hamlin last year was really good. And I'm going to be backing you on that selection as well. But as we dip down into this like sixth spot into the top 10 here, we have a lot of value guys. We're starting to get into some guys that are in the 7K, 8K range. Pinpoint some value plays that you're on in this little pocket from 6 to 10.
Well, the elephant in the room is obviously Chase Elliott. He's the most expensive. He's won this race. He's won the Roval. He's very good. He won the title last year. So, it's probably only a matter of time before he rises up to the top. My projection has him winning this race. So, but the one that I really like here is Logano. I think he's like kind of really underpriced at 81. He finished second at the Roval, and he finished ninth here in Daytona. So I think he might break out to be the best point per dollar play on the slate on both DK and on FanDuel.
I love that. You've totally sold me on Logano at 8,100. Typically a driver you can see in the 9K, 10K range. And he doesn't have a terrible background in road courses. And I'm going to be, and he's an aggressive driver. We talked before the show, we want guys that are going to be a little aggressive because we want guys to be racing in this race, not, just driving around and getting their feel for this course. We want guys racing. And I think Logano is a guy that is competitive and he races hard. So I'm with you on Logano, and 81, we get a discount. And obviously there is the Chase Elliott. I mean, that goes without being said. The best road course driver probably in the sport. And he's probably gonna find his way to the top early, and starting in 8th, seventh, he's probably going to be pretty chalky. So don't mind him at all, and obvious cash play. But as we drop down here, and we're going to get into this later half of a short field, pinpoint a couple of guys you feel could be high owned and still pay off their salary. Who are your targets here in the back half of this field?
Well, just looking at it I don't think Newman's going to be super aggressive. Matt DiBenedetto, I think he only has one more year with Wood Brothers. So I think he's in a contract year, it seems, possibly.
Yeah.
So he might really want to be a little bit more aggressive to make a name. This is an easy race to stand out and win and be memorable. So might be an opportunity there. Buescher, he's decent, but again, Raffin, the way it's a smaller team. How many cars do they have? Ty Dillon, I don't know if he's really going to go out with this new 23 XI racing car.
Yeah.
It's basically a Joe Gibbs car. You can't have 5 teams in that car. So, this is the way around it. So they have all the support from that garage, all the science and all the notebooks and statistics.
Sure. Yeah.
I still don't think, but Kurt Busch is probably the one that I really like here. He's a veteran. He's been a good road course driver. He finished 4th in Charlotte at the Roval, and last time he was out here, he finished 14th after starting 8th. So that's not bad at this Daytona race. I think he's only 74, and I think he's got a good potential to get up into the top 10 there.
Absolutely. I think Kurt Busch is an excellent play, and I think you're pretty spot on with DiBenedetto. I think that sets up for a pretty decent GPP play, maybe even a cash play if you feel safe with that salary and you want to fit a couple more studs. 12th, not necessarily a terrible position to be starting in if you can finish inside the top 5. I think for go ahead.
Well, what you were talking about Eric Jones earlier, and I do like him, but I think, would be Benedetto. He's only $300 less. And I think if somebody has like around 7,200, 7,300 left, they'll go with him just because you feel like you need to use all the money. But I'd leave like $300-400 on the table and maybe go like DiBenedetto over Jones. Plus, he starts 4 positions lower. So there's a chance to get more like, place differential points there also.
Absolutely. And I would consider now that we have an increase in fastest laps, the Wood brothers might have, a faster car than Richard Petty, and you might be able to get more fastest laps opportunities and get some more points that way as well. Kyle Busch, I think, is a really strong play as well, starting in the 16th spot. He does have he had a pretty bad finish last year on this course, but I think as you were talking before the show, he had a manufacturer error, and that happens from time to time, but it's certainly not a reason to write off anyone, especially if Kyle Busch's caliber. So I'm going to be in on Kyle Busch. I don't think he's I think he's pretty cheap. I don't think he's too expensive. But I see some guys here at the back half, and I think they're going to be chalky. I'm going to let you go ahead and talk about him. Talk to me about Truex.
I think Truex probably should have won the first Daytona race. He just kept on shooting himself in the foot. I believe they had like a speeding on pit lane or outside the box. It was one of those things. There was like a couple of different penalties and errors in judgment. They didn't put the tires on backwards like they did, when it lost the title. But it just seems they're like snake bitten sometimes with bad luck. But he's a really good aggressive road course driver, and I love starting 18th. There's so much place differential there. I think people also look at Harvick a lot, but he scares me. Like, he is one that I think is going to use this as a test session. I don't think that he's comfortable on these tracks as a road driver, and he has had some success. I mean, the dude's been driving for how many years now? Like 20 some,
right?
Almost. So,
yeah,
I mean, he started 4th, he finished 11th, but he had the pole at this one last time just based on his like points position for the season and ended up 17th. So he's definitely a fade for me. I don't think I'd even play him in a GPP.
And that's what you're going to have to get dicey with your lineups and to differentiate yourself from the field with just as only 21 drivers. Kevin Harvick would be a really cool fade if it worked out. I think he would be pretty popular, and maybe leaving some salary on the table or taking a guy that you feel can, stay up front, like Denny Hamlin, as we talked about earlier. I think that's a cool way to be different in your lineup selection this week. But I think I'm going to talk a little bit about Ricky Stenhouse. I have a thing for Mr. Stenhouse just because he's just a really aggressive driver. He's the ultimate GPP play for the reasons of he's going to race for your money. And I love that in Ricky Stenhouse. And, it's not always going to work. He's going to wreck a lot this year, but there's going to be those point in times in the year where you're looking at a GPP winner because Ricky Stenhouse drove up to 4th or 5th and really gave you all for your money. And I like that about Ricky Stenhouse. But what do you think about Ricky? Good GPP play?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think you're going to see a lot of lineups where they think, okay, it's Daytona. So I haven't mathematically figured out if this is possible, but you might see them stack like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. So you put all of them in the back. You hope for the place differential, but you only have 35 laps. They might not get there. And they've kind of changed the DK scoring a little bit this year. It's not going to really affect us too much here, but you're going to get more points in the finishing in the top 10. Then there's actually going to be like a 2-point differential between 21st and 20th with the new scoring system, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I mean, I was hoping for stage points and to be incorporated for DK scoring. I think that would be a fun twist, but I think what they did is okay. You know,
yeah, it makes sense because it was based on a 43 car system, and now it's on a 40, so it just sets it the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
And each
And
week is going to be interesting this year because you have 36 cars that have charters that can make the race any single week. So you're really only going to have 4 people come in each week to try to make it. So,
right. Yeah, I think that's pretty solid analysis as well. Eric, any love for Eric Almirola or Austin Dillon in this back half?
I definitely can see Eric Almirola in cash. He's got nowhere to go but up. He's an average road course driver, so I don't think he's going to kill you. But if he finishes last, then you don't lose any place differential points. Austin Dillon, he didn't race it last time, like I said. I think I've heard that he has been doing a lot of iRacing and stuff and simulators to try to prepare for it. And he could definitely be a dark horse, but he's not one I feel comfortable in cash. But I can see it. I don't hate it. He's deeper down in the line, so he's got further up to go. But I don't know if he gets too far up with the limited laps there.
Yeah, I think having not driven this course last year, I think he might be a fade for me, even though he is extremely cheap. But yeah, just not enough there for me to feel confident. And like you had said, you're getting more points for the top 10 this year. So I don't think he can get inside of the top 10. I don't think he can make enough ground to pay off. Well, I mean, if he finishes in the top 5, you're looking pretty, but I think he's going to garner more ownership than he should. But that'll pretty much do it for me on driver selection this week and for any breakdown. Do you have anything else to add, Mega?
No, I think it's a race where don't put your whole bankroll in it, because with only 21 drivers, there's a lot of people that can figure out like almost every single combination possible. You don't see like 150 maxes in this one because there's more combinations of less combinations of lineups than 150. So, and with 6 drivers, you're going to see a lot of duplication. So, dip your feet in the pool, have some fun, kick back. Racing is on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's like 10 degrees here where I am and like snow everywhere.
Same.
I had to brush the car off before, the show so we could actually see it,
Yeah. You were dealing with that snowstorm. I'm dealing with some cold Cleveland air. But yeah, this is going to be fun for a Tuesday night race here for the Busch Clash. I look forward to it every year. So let's hopefully make some money on it. And I agree with you. Dip your toes is probably the best way to do Speed Week, but definitely fun and exciting times. Yep. But thank you for tuning in this week, everyone. And thank you, Mega, for bringing us some really cool projections. And I'm really excited for this year. Mega kills it every year. He is the NASCAR guru here at FSI. So appreciate your time, sir. And I think appreciate you all listening in. And we'll get back to you probably Thursday or Friday for the duels or the truck race. So see you then.
Sounds good. Peace.